Yeah, there's been a big storm brewing here in the state of Hawaii, hence why I've been kind of slowing down the uploads. But that ain't gonna stop me from playing the one thing that I've been playing for the past few months now, and that's Grand Theft Auto. But more specifically, Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. Yep, gonna finally be talking about this one because I just got finished today. This is obviously the follow up to, in its own respects, the prequel to Grand Theft Auto Vice City itself. And I figured because I love Vice City so much, I consider this like a nostalgia classic. It makes sense to play this back to back. This isn't the first of its kind, of course, because prior to the year when Vice City Stories came out, we got Liberty City Stories that came out, which was the prequel to GTA 3, respectfully. Now, first and foremost, to kind of address like the ports out of the way, so I understand that the Vice City Stories has two ports, which is the PSP and the PlayStation 2 version. So between the two that I decided to play this time around, I went for the PlayStation 2 version because I figured why not? I'm gonna get a lot more bang for a buck if I play the PS2 version, and I can confidently say that now, after playing this game and even this game, I think that this is better than this in every way, shape, or form for like prequels. And I think it says a lot because Vice City Stories takes a lot of like maybe some of like the small kind empty plot holes that were plastered throughout the original Vice City itself and answered it to a certain degree, if that makes sense. I mean, for starters, we got to get more Phil Cassidy missions in this game. We get to see Lance motherfucking Vance, who was like my favorite character in Vice City itself. And again, you go into Vice City Stories with an expectation that's unpredictable and missions that are super weird, out of the wazoo, that keeps the Vice City formula to its core, but simultaneously making sure that it's a lot more smoother for its time period. So I guess first off, let's start with like the basic simple game mechanics. So the game mechanics of this game kind of runs similar to its own respect to like Liberty Stories, where it's gonna be the same like weapon system, the same type of vehicles where it's a lot more buffer and health, but at times I am noticing that the slight difference of Vice City Stories to Liberty City Stories is that the vehicles in the game can drift a little bit, can go a bit out of control if you don't control your car. If that makes sense. There's also a lot of bikes, which honestly, between Vice City's bikes mechanics and Vice City Stories, the bikes in Vice City Stories feels a lot more balanced. It doesn't feel super like over the top and crazy to the point that you're gonna be veering off of a fucking highway or something. And the weapon system, as I mentioned already, is still the same tried and true formula that you come to know from not only LCS but also Vice City, where every gun in the game is just super OP, super broken. The auto aim and the free aiming when it comes to using your guns is also a lot more improved upon compared to LCS, where there were moments in LCS where it was like really clunky and at times a little glitchy and buggy at times, and I wasn't aiming properly. In Vice City Stories case though, I felt like they were able to clean that up and actually make it a lot more smoother this time around when going through certain missions. And like I said, I've gone through these missions in the breeze because Vice City Stories was the first Grand Theft Auto game that I played back then. And this was a really special sentimental thing that really got my eyes peeled. So, like I said, in Vice City Stories, this takes place in the world of your new main character, Vic Vance, which is the older brother of Lance Vance himself. And in this story, we see Vic, originally coming into Vice City to join the army, join and become a military veteran to provide for his family, for his brothers, and, just make money the right and reasonable way. But along the way, he come across as a character named Martinez, or AKA Jerry Martinez, and he is instantly he depicts like what it's like to work with a really corrupt, really fucked up like army veteran who, despite his big status, he uses his power to get what he wants. In this case, gaining coke, gaining prostitution, what have you, and in the story at the very beginning of Vice City Stories, you see Vic like knowing damn well that like what he's doing is obviously wrong. It's illegal. He shouldn't be doing this, but he has to because it's under Martinez, and he doesn't want to break the army code. And then Martinez does the unthinkable, where he frames Vic And because of what he has done, he essentially gets Vic kicked out of the army. Now he's on the streets. But thanks to his little help with Phil Cassidy earlier, dealing with one of the gang members from the Cholos, he was able to find a place to live, and he was able to owe Phil big time as a result. And this, like I said, sparks this huge like uprising of Vic becoming the main man that he becomes, where he's like the big drug lord that you come to know up until this point. Yet he doesn't want to be a drug lord. He doesn't want to take over empires. He just wants to be a normal guy and just wants to be part of the army and do things that he feels is right. But unfortunately, like a lot of what happens throughout the game, you see like a lot of the criminal background like intensifies as you progress through the story, and it intensifies tremendously when you get to meet the young version of Lance motherfucking Vance. And this version of Lance feels, it's still obviously voiced by the same voice actor who did Vice City, but like his version of what we see in Vice City stories into OG Vice City is like a night and day difference compared to like what we know now if you play Vice City. And again, I think that the voice acting in this game is still really good. There's still a lot of charisma. There's still a lot of emotion put into it. I'll even just throw out a little side quest comment here, but like the radio stations in this game, they kept the radio stations super to the core of Vice City. The biggest issue I had going back to LCS, Liberty City Stories, was yes, there were radio stations that did pay homage to GTA 3 in its own respect, but unfortunately, there were some radio stations that I did criticize when I played LCS the first time around, where I was like, "Hey, why are we getting DMX in a GTA 3 game?" I understand it fits with the Grand Theft Auto game itself, but it felt super off-putting. It kind of didn't fit the standard for its time. I don't know, but it could be me for that game. But in Vice City Stories case, they kept everything of the original radio stations in its fullest to its T, and gave it a little bit of a twist, a little bit more life around to showcase that hey, Vice City Stories is different when you go through different radio stations. And again, can I say that this is one of the very few games that, I guess I'll spoil it right here and now, that Phil Collins actually makes an appearance in this game? Yeah, I'm not joking. Phil Collins comes into this game, and I might be the first to admit this, but this was the first in-game concert that I was able to like get into growing up as a kid before Fortnite made a big fucking deal with these in-game concert games. Like that's a pretty big and ballsy move that Phil Collins not only decided to like actually like put some voice credits into this game, but like honestly, the concert was pretty cool when you get into that mission, man. And like I said, as you progress through the story, you get to meet some really crazy, really outlandish characters, but also some really key characters that play a role in the Vice City original game itself. Characters like Ricardo Diaz, which was a really key figure in Vice City, and Gonzalez, and again, Phil Cassidy once again. Like they play a pretty big role in like what was to come in the OG Vice City. And also, I've got to mention another celebrity shout out here, but pretty underrated. Danny Trejo is in this game. Yeah, Danny Trejo voices a character named Umberto Rubino who runs the Cuban street gang. And if you remember back in Vice City, there was a pretty big and infamous gang that was like fighting the Haitian gang in the game itself, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like again, there's so many really great, really amazing voice actors here in this, and a lot of key characters that play a role in this. And can I just also throw out one more character, please, for once, with Luis? Luis is this amazing, beautiful redneck girl that you get to meet, and is the love entrance to Victor Vance. And her story and what becomes of her is possibly one of the most tragic stories I still remember fondly to this day. Like, we're talking like it's almost as dark and depressing as GTA 4 level quality of depressing before GTA 4 even came out. And that's all I gotta say about the characters, man. Like the story of this game just feels so much more fleshed out. It feels like there's a lot more life put into it. It also answers a lot of the questions regarding Lance Vance's background and to what why his fall from grace in Vice City came to the way it is. But now we get to the criticisms. So as I mentioned already, not every GTA game is going to be perfect in its sort of capacity, and Vice City Stories has a few. My least favorite mission in this game, after playing this over, would have to be this mission with the exchange, triggered by Diaz. In that mission, holy moly, that mission was so goddamn aggravating. I actually would argue it's probably the hardest mission in Vice City Stories, where you have to essentially go to a location, snipe out 9 dudes in within a minute, and then you have to drive your said weapon back to Diaz's mansion. And here's the thing, right? Like that mission was so hard because you had to snipe again 9 dudes within a minute. And keep in mind, because I'm using the joystick still for the PlayStation 2, mind you, it's hard to fucking aim and like balance your shit. And there's no pill in sight, so you can't take a pill to like slow down time and shit, which would have been an easy way out. So what you had to do was just like make sure and hope and pray that you aim your shot properly and hope you sniped perfectly at the enemies. And then when you get to the driving section of that same mission, I swear to God, I don't know what happened to the truck, but believe me when I say this, if you were to like hit a goddamn pole, like 5 poles in a row, your car catches on fire and you fail the mission. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, did the vehicle just regress back to GTA 3's like mechanics here? Like, what the hell, man? It's like I just found like the weakest truck in the game when driving through it, and it was so aggravating. But what is shockingly not aggravating is the boat missions. The boat missions this time around, shockingly, was actually like really good. It was really smooth. I didn't have any complaints about that. I will say another key issue that does I did notice as I was playing through the games that there are going to unfortunately be like plot holes in certain moments of the Vice City stories. Case in point, the relationship between Louise and Vic, how they start off like really strong, really close, but then like throughout the game you don't really see Louise like towards like the very tail end because at that point you're too focused on like trying to like build your empire, doing other missions, doing a lot of side quest content, which mind you the side quest content is also super easy. I would argue it's actually the easiest out of all the Grand Theft Auto missions I've done so far, with the paramedic, the vigilante, and the firefighter missions, which I got those squared off away instantly because it was much more easier, much more smoother. They're a lot more like less strict this time around to you when you do those side quest missions. And I forgot to mention that this game also introduces the swimming mechanics. So in past GTA games and even LCS, when you touch water in Vice City and 3, you instantly die for the most part. But in Vice City Stories, this and I think San Andreas was one of the first games where you finally get to swim underwater, but it did release like that water stamina mechanics. They even decided to release a mechanic where I think from GTA 4 and onward, you have the ability where you can get your weapons back and not lose your weapons. So what I mean by that is that in past GTA games, when you die or get arrested, all your weapons are confiscated and you have to pay a bribe to get released, right? Well, in Vice City Stories case, when you die or you get arrested, you actually have the option to buy your weapons back without having to like go through the effort going through every ammunition shop, buying all your weapons back, or reloading your save just so that you can get your weapons back, right? So I really like that they were much more kinder this time around because that part of past GTA games was really annoying when I had to keep on reloading my file just so that I have my weapons intact and I don't have to go back and forth just to get my weapons again. And the money making system in this game is still really smooth. It's still similar and plays similar to Vice City, where again you can do it the cheat way, where you can do cheat codes in Vice City stories, or do it the way where you just take over businesses, and after you take over a certain business, then after a certain day they'll pay you out like 2,000, 3,000, depending on how many businesses you own throughout the game. And believe me, there's like a ton of businesses that you can own throughout Vice City stories, but that's basically your instant money maker there that you don't have to worry about if you don't want to do like these ramp side quest missions. So with that being said, I guess the last thing to wrap this up is Victor Vance's death. So I didn't know this until after looking this up. So Victor Vance and the reference to like why Lance was finding out who killed his brother, I was trying to figure out, okay, like, so Victor did die in Vice City, the OG Vice City, and once I figured out like where he popped up in Vice City, I was like, oh shit, he popped up at the very beginning of the game as like a grunt henchman essentially, and we just didn't know him because he was just super sadly forgettable. So it's really nice that they were able to, again, like this actually now gives me even more appreciation that Vice City Stories fleshed out just, again, a simple background character to like so much more than that. And that's saying a lot. And like I said, to really wrap this up, I think that if you were to tell me what are the best prequel games between Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories, and I'll even throw this in here, GTA Chinatown Wars, it's a really tough call because as of right now, LCS is definitely out of the question, and I have to now think it's hard between this game and this game because both of these games, respectfully, are really great prequel games to their own right, and I just don't know like where we'll rank them right now. Like there are even moments in Vice City Stories that could even eclipse the OG Vice City, honestly. So again, I think that's all I gotta say. This is an absolutely great, incredible throwback of a game. Obviously, if you love Vice City, OG Vice City itself, you're going to love Vice City Stories. And now, I guess to spoil it all once and for all, the last game I'm going to be playing, or maybe the last game, because I still gotta play GTA 1 and 2 at the end of the day. San Andreas, baby. This bad boy's gonna be played pretty damn soon, and it's gonna take me a while because I know this is a pretty lengthy game for me to replay. But yeah, that's it. Just wanted to talk about GTA Vice City Stories. It's a great game. It's one of the best prequels ever, in my opinion. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you on the next one. Later.